companions, welcome. This is the last of the stories I want to tell you about my experiences with poachers in the African wilderness. I've told you about the protein poachers and I've told you about the killer gangs. And now I want to tell you about what I call the assignment killers. I want to read to you from my diary. It's a piece I wrote up at a time when I was wandering the wilderness to the east of the Lebombo Mountains. And then had just been declared a trans-border park to be joined with the Kruger National Park in South Africa, just across the border. But it was a national park only in name. It was just a stretch of endless wilderness. It runs today almost all the way along the eastern border of South Africa, with the Kruger National Park on its west, and then, I don't know, maybe 200 kilometers eastwards. So it is a vast stretch of wilderness. And this is where I was able to lose myself. Since the dawn of modern humanity, there has been a demand for animal parts. Initially, out of necessity, then for comfort, and finally, for vanity. As societies grew more prosperous, vanity began to feed on itself in an ever-deepening cycle of self-gratification, especially among the wealthy. Threaded through this history runs an ancient strand of superstition, even beneath the polished surfaces of modern educated societies. The belief that animal parts can bestow supernatural powers. It is this perverse fetish that nourishes the dark umbilical cord connecting the assignment killers of the African bush to the glittering playgrounds of the wealthy in their far-off cities. From its brutal beginnings in the remote African wilderness, that cord winds outwards, twisting, branching, crossing oceans and continents, and thickening through layers of ever more sophisticated deceit, its passage lubricated by underhand money. Where I spend my time on the ground in the wilderness is where the cord is implanted and where it is fed its blood by the assignment killers. They operate across this trackless wilderness in little groups of 2 to 4, heavily armed, and into the Kruger Park where they do their killing. I have mercifully never directly encountered any of them. They are secretive and evasive, and they operate mainly at night. That's when they move in. They kill and they move out at speed. Secrecy is their main concern. Anything that might jeopardize either their entry or their exit is summarily eliminated. If I would run into them, the worth of my life would be exactly the cost of 1 or 2 bullets from their Kalashnikov's magazines. I have come across many signs of their activities in their passage through the bush. The saddest and the most obvious are the carcasses, stripped of valuable parts like tusks and horns and skins, and now mobbed by scavengers. But there were others, such as well-trodden footpaths along drainage lines, punctuated by the occasional small ash heap from a fire hastily built for a quick meal or warmth. The killers cannot afford to lose time getting lost, or to be slowed down by crossing difficult terrain. So they use well-defined drainage lines and clear landmarks to navigate. In the little bush villages that I come across, the evidence is suggestive, but it is obscured. An evasive response to a question, Hints to be careful. Admonishments like, don't go. Flat refusals that do not make sense. And then, money. Money that flow between people and little shops. Money that shouldn't be there in this remote place with virtually no economy. The money comes from the assignment killers. These guys, although they are paid a pittance for the dangerous work they do, they earn vastly more than their fellow villagers, and they want somewhere to spend their money. Thus, small shops and entertainment hovels and the like spring up. The whole village becomes increasingly entangled in a web that has vested interests in feeding that cord. In some areas, it is so ingrained that it has almost become part of the DNA of the little societies there. As it writhes its course through the middle and modern worlds, ever more people are drawn into its maintenance, so that it becomes like an institution with too many vested interests, both inside and outside of bureaucracy, to be allowed to fail. And this is why the sweating and the bleeding and the dying of the brave rangers that slog after assignment killers out in the bush is futile, if the cord cannot be effectively severed and kept severed. This, however, would require real authority to act across government agencies and across countries, and that is a situation that sadly appears to remain beyond the will of governments. Companions, I hope you enjoyed these stories I've told you about my experiences with poachers in the wilderness and found it interesting. And I hope you will join me again when I do my next post. Good luck until we talk again.